Hi there, John. Thanks for your emails.
Yeah, great. Thanks for showing up.
That's all right.
Yeah, we can just turn it over straight to you.
Okay, brilliant. Right, let me just navigate Zoom a little bit. Okay, and thanks for your thumbs up. So this is basically just I asked the TENOR coordinators if I might have a little bit of time just to introduce a fantastic opportunity. I've been awarded an ERC Consolidator Grant based on the book that is the digital score. And I wanted just a little bit of time of this conference to be able to, well, briefly introduce the digital score as a book, to talk about the overarching concepts of that in order to feed into a conversation about introducing the ERC project. And also as well, primarily to advertise the role of the TENOR network and conferences within this project. So I'm kind of only going to take about 15 minutes or so, and then we can open it up for questions, qualifiers later on. And I always start these presentations by an apology. I get very excited about this stuff, and I might talk too fast and with a northern accent, northern UK accent. So if I apologize if I get too overexcited. But okay, so look, what is a digital score? So the book is one thing and the concept is another. The book is the start of a conversation towards understanding how digital technology is transforming musicians, our relationships with notions of the score. And I'll talk about what that means in a minute. It's conceptualized from inside musicking, that great Christopher Small concept. So therefore it's looking at the role of the score and this transformation through composing, coding, performing, building, designing, DIYing, all of those aspects. A common mistake I find, but I'm sure it's not new to anybody here, is that a score is not just notation. Notation is part of a score, but a score is also the media, the hardware, the feel, the sensation, the agency and its worlds, and within real-time scores, collaboration and co-creation. So I view the score as a communications interface from all of these aspects. And that's what the book and the ERC project is trying to do. Within the book, I suggest that there is a core purpose and a core function of the digital score. So the core purpose is a technically mediated communication interface between the creativity of, well, composable, let's say an initiating musician, to the creativity of a performer or realizing musician, and to the creativity of the mind of the listener. I've also argued that the function of this communications interface is to represent those ideas that happened in the mind of the originating musician using digital technology, hardware, software, in such a way. And digital technology, I've actually write about analog technology in the book as well, so I'm not even beholden to ones and noughts. But it's using it in such a way that it's capable of being translated into sound, I'd say music, during the performance through the technique, creative interpretation of a performer, which is either a human or a machine. But really what I'm chasing down is the meaning of the digital score. And one of the basic principles is, I'm sure you're aware of, Small's qualifier, is that the act of musicking establishes in the place where it is happening a set of relationships, and it is in those relationships that the meaning of the act lies. So really what this project and what this book is trying to do is to identify and somehow bring sense to the changes in the nature of those relationships between the concept of the score. The primary reason is that the digital technology, or just technology, operates as more than just simply a tool in the creative process. So I started off by asking 4 questions that could help identify these novel relationships in the digital score. What is taking part? what is the music world setting? How are representations of self and others, including intelligent agents, machine agents, manifest in this new setting? And how do these relate to journeys of interwoven connections and relationships? I think at the core of the concept in the book, and which is leading into this project, is these two perspectives that I identify. It's looking at the two-way phenomenon of taken in and taken into these digital scores. Taking in is in the sense that the musician makes connections through the technology as the technology reaches out to us, suggests and it offers and it shifts the way that we behave. Notation is one of those effectual things, but also the paper that it's written on, or whether or not it's a PDF or it's on an iPad. I mean, as a basic level, you then get into robotics and things like that, which is more my field. And the being taken into is that the technology can establish a world of creative possibilities for exploration. That's embodiment, so that goes beyond kind of physical or virtual spaces. And then, you know, in the book, you know, that's explained in quite deeply. So moving on to a couple of chapters later, I ended up with this idea of the 7 modalities of how we might start thinking about the scores that we're creating or we're presented with or we are presenting to others from these 7 different ways of thinking about those relationships. I'm not going to go into those there, but there's a chapter dedicated just to what these really means, and there's some examples in there as well. The point of this modalities was to try and map out actually different types of digital scores. And what I did is I based on significant step changes between each of these 7 modalities, I ended up with kind of 10 types of score, and they are grouped into kind of 3 general areas. I'm sure, you know, this was written, the bulk of the research was done 2017 to 19. The book was released in 2019. It's 2021 now, so it's already out of date. And I can see from the fantastic projects that are being performed this year at TENOR, you know, I've got some catching up to do in terms of the state of the art. So this is kind of provisional, as the whole book is really. And the ERC project is an attempt to bring a little bit more rigor and consistency and updateness to the project. But in a sense, there is the referential screen, there is interactive systems, and then there is this notion of cooperative code. We'll keep that in mind, part C, because now I want to tell you just a little bit about the ERC project. So it's this year's round, it was awarded in the same panel as Thor's. I'm sure you'll hear more about that later on if you don't already know about it. It's for 5 years. It starts in 2021, October this year, and it does have a lot of synergies and overlap, not overlap, but kind of relationships with Thor's and also Georgina Bourne's new advanced grant as well. It will extend the foundational work of the book, but it will particularly focus on 2 things. First of all, that 3rd section. And so I'm looking at 7 themes of artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, etc. And also as well, the sociological perspective of inclusivity within digital scores and also digital musicianship. The core aims are, as you'd expect, scientific knowledge of these new opportunities, expand upon the theoretical framework, but also as well building the scientific study of inclusive digital musicianship as well. I'm not going to talk too much about that here because I want to talk more about the project, other aspects of it. So the core question really is, how can these digital scores stimulate new relationship between musicians and open up the possibilities of novel creative experiences, and how these profoundly influence the nature of the digital musician? So not a great million miles away from TENOR's core hopes and aims as well. So, which is why, you know, I'm here talking about it now. The team and territories, in inverted commas, are familiar names, I hope. Myself, Sandeep, Ken, Kat, and Li Xiaobing, covering kind of China and Asia. We're also looking to employ 2 postdoc fellows. We'll be advertising those soon, and there'll be a project manager kind of thing as well. But the 2 postdoc fellows have been an exciting addition to the field. The big news is the 2 million primarily is going to get spent on 50 case studies from the team and also from the territories. So starting October, over the next 4 years, we will be looking at financially supporting, I mean, well supporting 50 case studies, mostly from the team and across the team, but also as well from the territories as well. So there is good financial support, there is time to dig deep, there is support for collaborations and innovative technologists to come on board. And like I said, it's conducted by the team and our communities. And currently in discussion with the TENOR network is, and we also mentioned it in the application, that TENOR is the project partner. So we've got some ideas at the moment about how that will work. I'm really open to suggestions and kind of finding ways of best practice we can come into this and making sure that this community is looked after as well as if we can. But as it stands, and again, this is provisional, we are looking at supporting works through expression of interest rounds, several of those, 1 a year probably. We're looking at supporting the next batch of TENOR conferences, probably with supporting ensembles or whatever. Again, this needs discussing and development, but these are our current ideas. Support for early career researchers and freelance artists within the field to travel to TENOR conferences around the world. So there's travel bursaries, and also as well to support for more local or kind of territorial based interim performances and sharings over the course of the 4 years. All right, well, that surprised me. So that was 15 minutes of that. I'm really open to more conversations about this. I don't know if you can see me yet. I'll come back, some thumbs up maybe. But yeah, that was 15 minutes, John, as I promised. And
just as advertised, thank you.
Yes, and would be really interested to, I don't know, has anybody got any ideas? How can this project be a gift to the TENOR conference and the community as well? You know, what's people's ambitions?
Well, it's certainly an exciting project and a pleasure to hear about it. Yeah, I would love to hear from the group if there's anybody here that has questions or thoughts. And perhaps if you've got the time to join us in the Slack group as well, maybe this could continue on over the next few days and hopefully be generative as you're just getting started. When did this project start?
So it starts October this year. We're still negotiating the thorny subject of collaborative contracts, but yeah, we're aiming to start at October. There'll be a kind of initial kind of development phase, but I think we'd all like, and we're all very keen to get into the practice-based element as quickly as possible.
Fabulous. Any questions or thoughts from the gallery?
It sounds really great. I'm very excited about your work and very happy that that there's this connection with the TENOR network. It seems like it's a very optimistic future. It's nice to see progressing. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? You know, it's there's an existing network of which, you know, I have friends who are part of, you know, it just seems absolutely amazing that the EU will fund this project, but also as well that there's a possibility that it can help the community worldwide as well, rather than just lining my own research pockets and.
Yeah, Thank you. As the conference chair, I also would like to thank you for your presentation. I hope that we'll have the opportunity to also work together in the future. Your project sounds it's very much related to what we're up to.
Thank you, Georg. And yes, I mean, we've spoken briefly about how it might work, and there's a very keen openness to continue positive discussions between the project and with TENOR. You know, so I'm very positive that we can kind of do something to put something positive into the community. Still open to ideas, still open to developments. And Sandeep is one of those who's going to be along for the ride.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed your presentation too. We've been in, these thorny discussions about who signs which paper, and I look forward to starting the actual work on this.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, as the current coordinator of the network, of the TENOR network, just say that this is a godsend, because the Canadian government chose to not support the network anymore. Even though the grant, I thought, was very well written and well supported, but they made another decision. So this comes as a godsend that the work of the network can continue. And I'm very glad and very thankful to you, Greg, for all this work. And that we can continue to give, subsidies to conferences and supports early career researchers and students. That's really great.
Yeah, great. I mean, I really wanted to be a gift to the network as well as to my own institution, and kind of everybody else who's partners like yourself, Sandeep. So really open to how we could make this a positive change, a positive way forward, and supporting in the best possible way for for as many people as we can, I suppose, without obviously diluting the core scientific nature of the research that's there. 50 case studies is ambitious, but we do have 5 territories, and we do have kind of 5 co-investigators on it, and so that it's 50 sounds like a lot, but really it's not when you look at it in the global perspective, and certainly not that there's 46 people in this meeting. So it's not like we'll all get one each either. But yeah, I'd like it to do as much as it possibly can. And like you say, Sandeep, I was part of that Canadian proposal that went in the application, and it was very strong, and I'm surprised that it didn't get it as well, in which case they would have worked hand in hand, the ERC and the Canadian one. But unfortunately it's not. So okay, then what can the ERC do in that sense in order to kind of lift some more of the weight for TENOR? I'm at De Montfort University. My email address is cvear, as in ear, at dmu.ac.uk. You can find me around. And I'd be really interested just to hear more from you. I'm going to try and drop in as much as I can here, but we've got a hefty teaching term going on. So forgive me if I'm not around. But yeah, maybe we take an early tea.
We've intentionally scheduled no breaks during the entire TENOR conference, so I'm sure that everybody would appreciate a moment to grab a coffee. Well, Craig, I want to thank you, and also I see that Kat Hope also wrote, a thank you to Sandeep for all of your hard work and everything. So I think this is just a moment to thank all of the people in the TENOR network. And so Craig, thank you for showing up, and it's nice to know that that the future is bright, and that we know who to talk to and how to talk about going forward.
Great, thank you very much. And if anybody's got any questions about my book as well, I'd love to hear your emails or see those. But